Hi, welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. Today is all about best books, the best books that were the best of the best, and that is our award-winning books. Because books speak to us, and books tell us a story, and it's how we tell that story that's important, and by illustrations or by words, and that's what these books do for us or has done for the committees that have chosen them. So the American Library Association to Children and the Young Adult Society and several other groups choose the best books that represent their mission or their focus and their passion. And so we're here to tell you a little bit about those books. So let's welcome Rosie and Anastasia. Thank you. There are experts in our award-winning books from nationwide. And so we've given you a little bit, or I've given you a little bit of weight to wear on your shoulders right now. So tell me a little bit about what award you would like to talk about first. Is that this?
Yeah, one of my favorite awards, two favorite awards are the Pura Belpré Awards and the Coretta Scott King Awards because they are really designed to focus on the experience of the Latino experience in America and the African American experience in America. And this year, Funny Bones was one of those winners. It also won for the informational books. And it's just, it's a wonderful story about Mexican history and the history of Mexican art, and also the tradition of the Day of the Dead, and it talks about that and how the skeleton pictures and how they worked into that culture. And so I really enjoyed learning about the history and a little bit about the culture. I know Rosie really enjoyed this one as well.
I did. So this is the story of Guadalupe Posada, and he drew these calaveras. Calaveras are these skeleton pictures that are very popular during the Day of the Dead. That's typically November 1st and 2nd. What was different about Don Lupe, as he was called, his calaveras were literary calaveras. So they were not just pictures, but they sometimes had a social message, or they were a political commentary, because right about when he was drawing was when the Mexican War was going on. Right. So what he wanted to say, he showed it through his pictures, and they were kind of lost. It was like a popular art. It was not really an art form, at least people didn't take it that way. Mm-hmm. And he was later discovered by Diego Rivera and others, who then went into more searching into what Don Lupe was doing. And Don Lupe had, of course, passed away by then. But his calaveras were very, very popular. People had done them before, but he was the one that truly popularized that art form. And I would also like to point out that this is a nonfiction book, so it talks about the processes by which Don Lupe printed these calaveras. So there's lithographs and etchings and engravings, and these are processes which you have to be very, very sure of what you're doing. There's no Command Z or Control Z to go back in these processes. And the book also gives you, the pictures are there and they're numbered, so you know what goes first, what Don Lupe had to do first, second, third. So it takes you through that process. And it's a very beautifully put together book.
Yes, Tonatia did an amazing job. He's one of my favorite illustrators of today. That
yes, he is.
Does these,
very much so. That he won last year too as an illustrator for, and I think he was the winner last year.
It was also a nonfiction. It was about the integration of the Mexicans into the schools,
school systems
in California.
And I do really enjoy.
Separate is not always equal.
Separate is never equal.
It's never equal.
Yeah.
So we've got that, and then let's go from something from Funny Bones, the Day of the Dead, to another topic that's kind of a topic that sometimes is not necessarily a comfortable topic in people's homes, but a very important topic.
Yep. So sex is a funny word. This one, a Stonewall honor. A Stonewall is speaking to with the LGBTQ experience, but this one can be used by many families would find this useful. It's a great conversation starter. They offer lots of questions for you as a parent to think about, and then for you to talk about with your children, and then different activities like this one. Imagine what you would look like when you're 25. And so the authors, I believe they're like a psychiatrist and a family therapist, so they're very well qualified, and they've done a nice job of making a book where you can find yourself, or maybe you don't find yourself, but you see somebody else, even with the different color faces. You don't start to think, oh, that's that person and that person. It just kind of makes it easier to think about the different topics.
Well, and they do kind of identify the characters throughout the book, and you get an introduction at the beginning of the book of who these people are and what they're like and their personalities.
Their personalities, yes.
So
and they're
it was very
consistent.
interesting that way too, because you can identify with the people,
Right.
even though they, not very many people are blue,
Right.
but they,
Yes.
we are all different, and,
Yeah.
and part of how we are and who we are is different. So very nicely handled, and like you said, a very good conversation starter for
It might
a
not
family.
be for every family, probably wouldn't be for every family, and there is a nice introduction in the beginning saying, if you're going to use this with your family, this is what we recommend that you think about, and that it's easy to skim and see what their take on different things are.
Right.
So it's
And
set
like
up that
with
way.
any
That's going to work.
book,
No book is for everybody.
No one book is for everyone, but
Yeah.
especially in sensitive topics like this, we always recommend that parents read through
Read
it
it first.
and then get their opinion. And if that's something you want to share, you can share it. If not, then just bring it back. That's why we
Right.
have a library
Yes.
to give all those different types of books. So you talked about the Coretta Scott King Award, and so do you have a favorite of those winners this year?
Boy, there was really wonderful winners this year. The Coretta Scott King author winner this year was Gone Crazy in Alabama, and this is the third in Rita Williams Garcia's trilogy about this family. And it's interesting, they were all three set in different places. In the first one, they go visit their mom in California, and the second one, they're in New York, and this third one, they've gone to visit their grandma in Alabama. And it's very interesting, there's lots of generations. They're living with their grandmas, and then they find out that the woman across the creek is actually their aunt, and then they do a lot of work to try to bring their family back together. And there's a lot of drama, big storms and runaways, and cows that refuse to give milk, and
Just
Children
like
getting
real
lost.
life, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
it is
yes.
what they is.
so
what it is.
a wonderful family epic that, it would be a great read aloud.
I have a special thing. I went to American Library Association meeting last year, and I actually got to meet her, and she signed a copy for me. So
nice.
I will share that and
Yeah.
go from there. So we have some illustrator awards as well. Let me go with this is our honor book. If you would anybody want to speak to this? This is the book Itch is got some really neat statements in it. And it was about a man that was made a bookstore as an African American, and did not do it in a time necessarily that African Americans were able to do those things. And so he fought hard against the world and was successful. He wasn't an educated man, he was self-educated, which was even, he really aspired, and he taught that, and he modeled that wonderful behavior of, the world is not going to conquer me, I'm going to conquer the world. And have those.
He started off with 5 books and then built up this library where, the great personalities of the time like Muhammad Ali would visit, and it became this place where people could gather and could talk and share ideas. And it was also a place where it became a source of power, where knowledge was power. And that's what he was trying to teach his community.
And knowledge is power, as we all know, and books give us that power. So let's talk about and I'm just randomly, because I'm now in a surprise. Oh, this is our trombone shorty.
Yeah, and that won a Caldecott honor as well, right?
Yes,
so many
correct.
times the books are honored for their specific focus, whether it's disability or ethnicity, and then also as one of the best books of the whole year. And we love to see that happen.
So, yep, and this is our Coretta Scott King Illustrator Award winner, as well as an honor book for our Caldecott Award.
Yeah. It's a beautiful story of Troy Andrews. It's a real story and Troy Andrews is, of course, somebody that we all know as Trombone Shorty. And there's a very cute picture of him when he was 6, playing with a trombone that's like twice his size.
Get that,
Yeah.
that picture.
Grew up in a very poor neighborhood, but had this passion for the trombone and kept at it. And look where he is right now.
And another person that really fought hard to be,
Right.
he also speaks to that, and there's a picture of him currently.
Yeah.
That, very well done. It's a great book.
It's a beautifully put together.
I'm not necessarily, I'm going to show my ignorance in music. I did not know who he was. And so I learned a lot about Knowledge is Power, the books. So how about this, Voice of Freedom?
Yeah, that was another one that won several awards.
Coretta Scott King Illustrator Award winner, and the Caldecott Medal honor.
Again, the story of Franny Lou Hammer. She was born in poverty and one of many children. Grew up in a sharecropping family where she had nothing. She didn't even know that she could vote or had the right to ask for it, but did come to know that, and then never looked back. She fought hard, not just for herself, but for her community. And it's beautifully illustrated, and the words are, it's set in verse, so it really moves you when you read her struggle. And her life was a hard life. She was tricked into having an operation by which she could not have children, but she did adopt children, and she never let anything stop her. She just kept at it. And
another very driven person.
Yep.
And just by the look of her on the, how she's characterized here, she was a woman that when she walked in the room had a presence and was not going to let the world get her as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to the Drum Dream Girl, because that kind of reminds me of this young character as well. So does anyone want to talk to that one too?
Yes.
Rosie?
And this is, again, it's based on a real girl in 1930s Havana, Cuba, where they had this very strange system where girls could not play drums. Girls could not be part of a band. And this young woman wanted to be part of this band, and she loved drums. And though she was told repeatedly that she could not do it, she just kept dreaming and she just kept practicing, just like Trombone Shorty did not, let the world tell her what she could and couldn't do. And ultimately, her talent was such that even her father, who was her biggest critic, who was the one who was, saying she couldn't do it, had to accept that she'd had real talent and she was truly gifted, and got to be in a band together with other young women.
I'm trying to find the picture of when her father decides that he can, this one. I just love this illustration where the father has decided that she can play the drums and he wants her to, and he gets the drum players
she gets
lessons for
she
that.
Gets a teacher to teach her. And the other reason that I love this book, even before it won any awards, it's part of one of our literacy bags that we developed.
It is. Well, so that's almost tiring that all these people are so good and driven and all they've won those awards. But we have some Newbery honor books and Caldecott honor books as well. So let's do the Schneider one for the award with Emmanuel's Dream, because this is another one that's going to make you tired, because he's overcoming lots of neat things.
Yes.
Or
lots of things in a neat way.
Right.
Yes. So this was the winner or an honor. There's so many. There's like 100 of them.
He's a winner.
So this one won the Schneider Family Award, which is for an artistic expression of the disability experience. So somebody either real or fictitious, and this was a real one. So Emmanuel here, he was born with one kind of bum leg, would be a way to say it, And his mom was determined that he would not just be a cripple in their city. So she told him, you need to hop and learn how to hop. And so he hopped to school and back every day. Mm-hmm. And then somebody brought a bicycle to school, and he determined that he was going to figure out how to ride a bicycle. And it took quite a bit of time, but he did figure out how to do it, and he bicycled across his country, which is amazing. What I love about this one is it's a great read aloud, because the picture book format, it's large. The illustrations are large enough that you can read it across the room. I put some kids to sleep this way, because they would kind of look at the bicycle and then they fall asleep. So highly recommend it as a read aloud as well.
Well, and on the back, it's got a wonderful statement, one person can change the world. And I think all the books that I have on my lap right now have changed the world, as we each do. So let's go to a little fun with our ETR, our Theater Geisel Award. And we have it, Don't Throw It to Mo.
Yeah, so this is one of our beginning readers, and this was the one beginning reader that this year I thought, oh, that looks like a good one, and I read it, and then it ended up winning the award, and so I was pretty proud of that. But anyway, it's about a young boy, and you can see he is a person of color, but that's just part of his life. He loves football. His mom throws a football to him to help him wake up in the morning. He's small. He's the smallest one on the team there, and nobody really thinks he's that great, but by the end, he catches the winning thing. So it's just really neat to see sports coming into that beginning readers, because we do have a lot of young kids who love sports, and we love to have great beginning reader books to offer them.
And this was, again, one of those that the underdog
right.
does
he's the
wonderful
smallest
things.
one.
So,
yes.
But he's kind of like the secret weapon in the team too. So.
Yep, so he's wonderful.
We're waiting. Oh. We're waiting. And this was a winner, or an honor book too, for our Caldecott.
Yes. And Geisel.
And Geisel. So,
so good for beginning readers.
A wonderful story about little animals on the shelf waiting. Yes. And we were waiting. Shall we wait? We've been waiting now for the winner of the Caldecott, and this just touches my heart tremendously as a Winnie the Pooh fan. This was our Caldecott winner this year, and it's all about Winnie the Pooh, and it's about the bear that was the Winnie model for Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin. Who would like to talk about this one other than me?
I'd just like to say there was another book about Winnie the Pooh this year that was really good as well, and that was the one I read, so I haven't read this one.
Sure. So the book actually starts in Canada, and they are preparing for World War II. So this officer has left his hometown, and he is coming to England. He's on his way to England, and in one of the station stops, he sees this little bear. He's a veterinarian by profession, and so he's going to take care of the horses. They had horses back then in the war.
In the war.
Yeah. So he sees this bear together with, he's on a leash with a man, and his heart just goes out to the bear. He says, there's something special about that bear. So he adopts the bear. He buys the bear from him, and he names him or her Winnie for Winnipeg, which was his province that he came from. And the bear just becomes the army's pet. Everybody, they want to pet it, they want to feed it, and they are completely enthralled. And you can see the bear being bottle fed, condensed milk. And so
they really loved him.
They truly loved him. But of course, when he was going to be shipped out to France, he couldn't take the bear. So he goes to the zoo in London and asks them if they would like to adopt the bear. And they do, and the bear grows up in London. And that's when Christopher comes with his dad to see the bear. And the story then is, of course, something that everybody knows. Everybody loves Winnie the Pooh. It's part of all children's childhood.
There's a special part in the back that I think is also very important, all the way back, is some first research or first source illustrations, primary resources in the album part of it. And so you get to see the real Christopher Robin and the real Winnie the
Right.
Pooh. And so this is the book that inspired the stories of Winnie the Pooh. And it's a very interesting way that they present it too, because
Right.
it's telling the story, and then you have to end one story for the next story to
Right.
begin. So it's a bedtime story at night. So the Caldecott winner. We also have our Newbery winner, and we just have a few minutes to talk about this. We have our Newbery winner winner honors that we have in front of us that are stories that are full-length novels. But our winner this year happens to be a picture book. Now, this isn't the first time that's happened. There have been a couple other picture books along the way in the years that the Newbery Award has been given out. But this was kind of a surprise to many people because it is only a picture book. So this was the winner, and these are the honor books. So this won the Newbery Award, but it also got a Caldecott honor and a Coretta Scott King illustration honor book. And it is also the literacy bags that you were speaking of is in one of our the award-winning literacy bags. So let's have a little discussion, a couple minutes about what we think about a picture book winning the Newbery Award, which is supposed to be for the I always talk about with kids, the words, the storyline, not the pictures.
Right.
So what do you all think about that?
Yeah, it's the most distinguished, I think. And it's, at first, I think many of us thought, how can you have the most distinguished character development and plot development in a picture book? And that's probably still a question.
I think it's pretty well developed. I think that's really where we are split right down in the middle as to
Yeah. You
whether
think
it should.
you would have voted for it?
I would have. It's just a beautifully told story, and the pictures and the words go so well together, and they evoke the whole experience of this little boy, CJ, as he goes with his grandma on the bus, and they, on this journey to the last stop, which is actually a soup kitchen. So it's just a wonderful book.
Well, and it's not just a journey, they are done with church and they get on the bus, the city bus, and they travel and they meet as we all do on buses or public transit. There's interesting characters on that bus.
Right.
So there are, and the innocence of the child. There's 6 questions that are in the book. I saw a little YouTube of the illustrator, the author, talking about how it came to be. And it kind of has a little twist to it, because usually the picture book illustrator and the writer don't have anything to do with each other. But he was commissioned by his publisher. The author had read a blog about that the illustrator has put together, and he loved the way he depicted the grandmother. That's what the picture he saw, and he talked to his publisher, the author did, and said that he just loved that. And in their discussion, the publisher said, "Well, can you write a story about it? Write a story about it?" And so then he did, because he said, "Well, I travel on public transit all the time," and so then he went on and look at what he's a young adult author that has. He says now he feels like he's part of the team that he has, but it's part of that charge of having diverse books and listening. What I've done, and I read in one of the blogs that they said to just read the book out loud and don't look at the pictures, and read it aloud to other people. And I've done that to several different groups. And the emotions that come out of the words without them seeing the pictures. Right. Of course, they also want to see the pictures. So I think that's where the struggle I have with it is that I feel that we need the illustration. The illustrations are as important as the words are in this book. And how does that figure in with that Newbery Award that's supposed to be for the storyline and not to consider it explicitly says in that it's not for the pictures, that was not supposed to be part of it. But it is a really wonderful way to bring some of the diversity and setting us in that unequal world, like setting people in, we don't live in an equal world. And he goes from this nice area of town to the soup kitchen where he's helping his grandma feed others. And, there's some, they also talk about like, well, where's his parents at? And so he comes from a non-traditional type of, or what we used to call non-traditional. So a very, very interesting discussion book.
Yes, another good conversation starter.
Conversation starter, but a discussion among librarians and people across the country. What is a Newbery quality? Kind of when Hugo Cabaret won the picture book, or the Caldecott. Yeah. So, well, that's our last stop on our award-winning show today. So please join us in our other parts, or our other special Best Book Awards in the Well-Read series that we have for 2015. And remember, keep thinking about how that book speaks to you and how that author or that illustrator makes that happen for you. Because it's not the same experience for you as it is for me or the person down the street or for a child. So think about how that book affects you and how that book is the right book for you. Until next time, happy reading.